my dear students. I'm pleased to teach you online. In this lesson, I will be teaching you the definition and types of prose. Literature has three branches or types. You can refer to them as branches or types. They are prose, poetry, and drama. The branch of literature under review this term is prose. What is prose? Prose is that aspect of literature that deals with novels and storytelling. In this branch of literature, the author has enough room to talk about characters, settings, and events elaborately. The author has the freedom to dwell on any subject matter to whatever length. Features of prose. What are those characteristics of prose that distinguish it from the other branches of literature? Let's find out. 1. Novels are divided into paragraphs and chapters. No other branch of literature has this feature. Paragraphs are usually indented. Indentation is a blank space between a margin and the beginning of a text. That little blank space you leave before you start writing is known as indentation. This page has 2 paragraphs. This is how the words in a novel are arranged into paragraphs. This page has 3 paragraphs. An author can decide to write chapter in words. Chapter 4, chapter 26, with or without the word chapter attached to it. He could also decide to write it in figures as displayed here, or in Roman numerals. Remember, chapter does not necessarily have to be attached. The lines run from margin to margin. That is, the lines in a story, in a novel, run from one end to the next, from one end to another. So when you pick up a novel, you are going to find an arrangement like this. 3. The writer has no word limit. Like I told you before, prose is that branch of literature where the author has enough room to express himself. He gives attention to the minutest detail. That is why novels vary in size. Some novels are brief, while others are a bit lengthy, because the author has enough room to write and write and write. 3. 3. A person who writes novels is called a novelist or an author. This is an author writing his novel. Basically, prose is divided into two: fiction and non-fiction. Fiction is a work of art that is based on the imagination of the writer. In other words, the story in fiction is not real, it is made up. And the forms of fiction are short story, novella, novel, fable, and fiction. A short story is a work of art that dwells on a single subject. That sort of storybook that you can read in one sitting is known as short story. The pages are usually between 25 to 35 pages or less, and the letterings are very bold. The novella is also a short story. However, there is a tiny difference between them. The difference between the novella and the short story is length. The novella is longer than the short story, but it is not as long as a novel. A novel is a long fictive work of art that is usually multi-themed. If a novel is multi-themed, it means it has several messages that the author wants to pass across to the reader. Second Class Citizen by Buchi Emecheta is an example of a novel. It is one of the novels that will be read this term. A fable is a didactic story. A didactic story teaches moral lessons, and the characters are usually animals. These animals can do everything that humans do. They interact, they go to school, and they also reproduce. They do everything a human being does. In this picture, you can see Mrs. Tortoise cooking a human activity, and I just refer to Tortoise as Mrs. a human title. Fiction is a combination or blend of fiction with non-fiction. It's a mixture of fiction and non-fiction. Non-fiction is the opposite of fiction. It refers to stories that are real. This time they are not made up. Forms of non-fiction. 1. Travelogue. A travelogue is an account of the experiences of a traveler. Somebody that goes from place to place, and as he is moving, he is recording his account or experiences. That write-up is known as travelogue. Autobiography is the life history of a person written by himself. The life history of Mr. Bello, written by Mr. Bello, is an example of autobiography. Biography is the opposite of autobiography. It is also the life history of a person, but written by another person. The life history of Mr. Bello, written by Mr. Adamu, is an example of biography. Next is memoir. Memoir is a form of autobiographical writing that gives readers information about a particular period of time in the writer's life. Now, take note that memoir and autobiography are not the same. Autobiography is the full account of somebody's life history, while memoir is only a portion of a person's life history. It could be about his marital life, that is the marital life of the writer, or his educational life, which is only a segment of his entire life. All right, it is on this note that I bring the lesson to a close. Until I come your way again, goodbye for now.